mynews.studio.
On Oslo's streets, something striking stands out. The benches that used to be places for people to sleep are empty. Has Norway finally solved homelessness?
Today's date is July 10th, 2025. Let's start with the big headline. Norway is close to eliminating street homelessness. A decade ago, that would have sounded unlikely. Now, if you walk through Oslo, it's hard to imagine it was ever like cities such as London or New York, where rough sleeping is so common.
And it's not just how it looks. The numbers back this up. Back in 1996, there were about 6,200 homeless people in Norway. By 2020, that dropped to just over 3,300. Today, it's even less, fewer than one homeless person per 1,000 residents. That kind of drop doesn't happen by chance.
So what actually changed? Was it just a matter of opening more shelters, or was there something deeper at work?
The major shift was adopting a housing-led approach, especially through something called Housing First. Instead of asking people to tackle mental health or addiction concerns before getting housing, the model gives people a home first, no conditions. Support services follow, designed around what each person needs.
So they flipped the old model. Give the house first, then offer help. But is handing over the keys enough to make a difference?
It's more than just keys. The model includes wraparound support, access to mental health care, addiction treatment, and help integrating into the community. But having a stable place to live is the platform that everything else builds on.
And what does the data say? Has Housing First really delivered?
Yes, studies show it works. Housing First leads to greater housing stability and retention. Norway managed to cut homelessness by more than half, even though the population grew. People remain housed and their lives improve. There's also an emphasis on choice. People pick their own apartments, which gives them more dignity and control.
Who's making all of this happen? Is it just the government or other groups involved?
It's a coordinated effort. The national government sets the goal, zero homelessness, mainly through agencies like Husbanken. Local municipalities handle housing allocation and logistics. Nonprofits and service providers offer case management, addiction support, mental health care. They all work together. Regular meetings and shared targets have helped break down barriers that usually slow things down.
And what about funding? That's often where these programs struggle. Has Norway managed to keep the money flowing?
Yes, and that's been essential. The government has consistently set aside money for building new homes and for rent subsidies. There's been steady political will, so the programs haven't disappeared with each new election.
Did they target any particular groups for support?
They've paid special attention to vulnerable groups, families, people with substance use or mental health challenges. For instance, more family units have been created, and there's focused outreach for those leaving care, like young adults.
Are there any limitations? Has the Housing First approach missed anyone?
Some critics point out Housing First doesn't suit everyone. For example, young people or those with more chaotic substance use may need different support. And in Oslo, the tight housing market makes it harder to find enough affordable places.
How does Norway define homelessness? Some countries lower their numbers just by changing the definition.
That's an important issue. Norway's definition includes people in temporary accommodation, not just those sleeping outdoors. There's still debate, especially about how to count migrants or people in unstable housing. They're working to refine the data, making sure no one is missed.
Political will keeps coming up. How does Norway avoid losing momentum when so many countries stall after a few years?
They focus on regular evaluation, evidence-based policy, and constant advocacy. Policymakers keep broadening their efforts, investing in new housing, emphasizing prevention. The goal of zero homelessness isn't just a slogan. It's built into laws and policy frameworks.
Could this model work in places with less wealth or a different welfare system? Norway is unique in some ways.
The central ideas, treating housing as a right, coordinating services, sustained funding, can be adapted. The details will differ, but the overall approach offers a clear blueprint. Challenges like affordable housing exist everywhere, but Norway shows what's possible with commitment.
So it's not just about statistics. There are personal stories behind these numbers.
Yes, exactly. For example, there's a man in Trondheim who used to be addicted to heroin. Now he has his own apartment. He described it as winning the golden ticket. Stories like his put a human face to the statistics.
Let's zoom out for a moment. What's the broader lesson here?
Homelessness isn't inevitable. With the right mix of policy, funding, and collaboration, it's a problem that can be solved, even in complex societies.
Thanks for breaking that down. Norway's approach is a real-world framework, not just an idea to admire.
And that's the key takeaway. This is a plan for change that challenges what we think is possible.
Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.